Welcome back to Python for everyone. In this video, we will be talking about one of the most fundamental concepts in Python, data types. Understanding data types is super important because everything in Python revolves around them. Now let's break it down into four simple types: strings, integers, floats, and booleans. In my last video, I covered a little bit about how to create strings, but we never really got in depth of it. This is just going to be a superficial introduction of these data types. We will get into details later on. Let's start with strings. Strings are used to represent text. They are written inside single or double quotes. For example, I'll assign a variable, which we discussed in my last video. A is a variable. I will assign, let's say, I don't know, hello world. That's a variable. All right, and you can also create a string using single quotes. Let's try it. Single quotes. Let's say I'll type the name of my dogs: Marley, Hendrix, and Clapton. There we go. And let's try and print the first string, A, the variable, and then the second. There we go. You see, both are considered as strings and both printed successfully. All right, now strings are, like I told you earlier, basically text. But they're not just that. They can store anything from names to messages, even emojis. But just remember that they're always supposed to be enclosed in quotes, made double quotes or single quotes. But what if you have a single quote inside a string that is enclosed in single quotes? You'll need to use a backlash to escape it. I'll give you an example over here. Let's say, okay, example, that's a variable. I am creating a string with single quotes, all right? But it has another single quote inside. See what Python did. It, as soon as I typed this particular single quote over here, it assumed that string ended here, and the rest of the sentence is not a string any longer. It's just there, which Python will not be able to identify or read, and hence we will end up with an error. Let's say I put one more single quote over here. All right, let's see what Python does with it. I will try to print this, and there we go. We have an error. It specifically tells us it's an error with the syntax, and it's also telling you where, with this arrow, where exactly it is. Here, which means over here. So how can we fix that? Let me give you the solution. This is our single quote. Now, right where I was supposed to type that single quote inside the string, I am going to type a backslash, then the quote, and then I'll continue with the rest of the statement. There we go. Oh, come on. Let's try and print it. There. So that's your solution. I myself, I prefer to work in Python using double strings for my double quotes for my strings. Some people I've seen prefer single quotes, but then you always have to be careful about adding this backslash. You just have to be thorough with it, or you will end up with errors. All right. So the backslash helps Python to understand that the single quote in the middle of that string is a part of it, not the end of it. Now, strings can also include special characters. For example, at the rate sign, hashtag, dollar sign, some brackets, comma, full stop, whatever. All right, and even numbers and decimal values. However, you just have to make sure that they are enclosed in quotes, double or single. And that way, Python will treat them as text and not numbers or symbols. For example, let's say this is my variable and I am giving a number over there as a string. So Python will recognize this as a string, not the number that I've typed over there. Print num. There we go. Special characters. Um, special, I don't know. Let's say a dollar hash at the rate, you know, comma, full stop, question mark, I don't know, brackets. Okay, and let's try to print this. There we go. It's a string. Those are not, see, you will be using quite a few of these as individual characters to write the code. But when you mention them in quotes, it's nothing else but just a text for Python. Let's try a float value. A is equal to 2.5. Sorry, in quotes. Mind it, remember it. Print A. There we go. All right. Even though the numbers that I've typed over there, they look like numbers, but considering that we have them in quotes, Python will read them as plain text, nothing else. Now, let's move to our second data type, which is integers, which are nothing but whole numbers. They don't even have decimal points. If a number has decimal point, then it will be considered as float data type, not integers. For example, let's say age is equal to 35 years old, 35. See, I'm not typing that in quotes. So it's a different data type. Anything in quotes, a string, maybe numbers, floats, special characters, um, letters, doesn't matter. Over here, it's just a number which I've assigned to variable age, so it's an integer. Another one, year, current year is 2025, and let's try to print them. Age, print, year, there we go. All right, now let's move to our third data type, which is float. Their decimal points, example, equal to 2.5, print 2.5. These are handy for representing prices, measurements, when you're working on data sets for banks, anything financial, medical databases. Um, these come in very handy and are actually better than just, rounding up figures to integers. Now, Booleans, another data type. Booleans, basically they're just like on and off switches. A Boolean can only have two values, true or false. They're super helpful when, like a computer is trying to check if something is true or false. Or, for example, whether a user is logged in or not. Uh, when we compare, okay, let's try with an example over here. A is equal to true, B is equal to false. Okay, print A, print B. See, right now we're not getting into much detail about this because I think it will create a little bit of confusion. But as we proceed with our Python tutorials in the upcoming videos, this will get clearer and clearer. And with better examples, I think you would have a great chance of understanding them clearly. All right, so In this video, we've covered four types of data types that you'll be working all day, every day in Python. Everything revolves around them. We've covered strings, integers, floats, and Booleans. If you have any doubts, if you have any confusions, please leave a comment, and I will try and cover them in a better way, in a different way. If you had difficulty understanding them in the way I've explained it today. So that's it for this video. Now you know the basics of Python's data types. In the next video, we will dive even deeper into Python programming. So make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss it. Now, thank you for watching, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Happy coding!